So please welcome George Lizos to the show. Welcome, George.
Hi, Ashley. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you so much. I've gone down your rabbit hole and have enjoyed it so much. I saw you on a video, a YouTube interview, and I thought, oh my gosh, I have got to have you on the show, all the way from Cyprus. And then when I heard Cyprus, we just were in Greece for this summer. My daughters and my family, my husband and I. We went to Crete, we went to Santorini, and we went to Athens. And I think when I started listening to you and the history that I learned in Greece, especially in Athens, I mean, all of them, we went to amazing tours. And I think when I started understanding Greek mytholocism, Greek, all the gods, and um, then I listened to you, and I think that's where I had a connection. And I felt like, oh, I'm so glad I learned that this summer. And now I'm listening to George, and I kind of resonate more. I understand it better. But now that I've done more of George rabbit hole work, it's it's just fascinating. So, you know, when I look at your journey and I look at where you came from and how you've discovered your purpose and now help people find their purpose, we know that our soul came here to do. Your life example is a great example of teaching people that, because what you do now is what you struggled with, and why your soul came to learn. You're like with your dad, your identity, all the things. Can you take us in your little journey, kind of where, like maybe at 13, or how you were raised, your dad's, your relationship with your parents, and that kind of thing, to kind of
Yeah.
get us to where we can go from there?
Yeah. Well, long story short, it all started like my spiritual journey started at 15 years old. 13 was actually when I realized I was gay. And I grew up in Cyprus, a very small Mediterranean island. And that's the case for all small communities I found all around the world. They expect it to be a specific way. Like in the US, for example, all the small towns, they have a very like closed culture and mindset as to how you're supposed to be in the world. So growing up, I always felt like I was different from other kids my age and I had to try and fit in. And from a very young age, I started changing myself to fit into other people's expectations of me so that I would be accepted. And then at the age of 13 years old, I realized I was gay in a very homophobic country. Gay people were not talked about. They were considered to be pedophiles and criminals. It wasn't a term I had heard up to that point. So when I found out I was gay, I'm like, there's no way I would accept that. Otherwise, my chances in life are completely gone. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to do what I used to do, like, and what I've learned to do my entire life. I'm just going to change myself from gay to straight one step at a time. And that's when I entered the two like most debilitating years of my life where I would try to monitor and change myself, monitoring the way that I walked, the way that I talked, the way that I expressed myself, like policing my thoughts, preventing myself from thinking about guys, for example, or even looking at guys. It was a very masochistic time of my life, full of like self-bullying and self-loathing. And then 2 years later, when I couldn't change who I was clearly born to be, I'm like, what is the point of living? I'm just going to take my own life. And I had written a letter to my parents. I had a bunch of pills getting ready to like put an end to it. And that's when I had my spiritual awakening. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck what people think, fuck what the church thinks. I'm just going to learn to love and accept myself exactly as I am. And I'm going to find a new path. I was very religious at the time, growing up Orthodox Christian. And I'm like, Christianity doesn't work for me. Let me see what I can find out there. So I had no idea how to love myself because I did not experience love from myself or from other people, but I was willing to learn. So the universe brought me a series of experiences and led me onto a path of healing and transformation. That started with feng shui. And then it led me
Huh.
to meditation and witchcraft and all different types of spiritual modalities. And then at 25, I'm like, okay, I feel like I've empowered myself. I accept myself. Why don't I write a book to help people going through something like that? Help them find all the love, the support, and the fulfillment they need, not to other people, but within themselves. And that's when my first book, Be the Guru, which is all about being your own guru, was published. And that got me onto a trajectory of finding my purpose and helping other people find their purpose. And here I am 5 books later.
Right. That's amazing. You think of when I was learning from you and thinking of your books, you're how old now?
I am 34 right now.
Okay. So think of that. It's not even 10 years since you wrote your book.
Yeah.
And, that just seems to me like that's a dream for me. And then you've written five. But when I look at the progression and how you've written the 5 books and it's like you're so intuitive and you listen to what you like, pick at the breadcrumbs, right? You keep moving forward and what's calling you, and you listen to that voice in your head and like, where am I going next? But when I look at how you said you had your spiritual awakening and you didn't take those pills, was there something that came into you that said, come on now, George, what is that? What's that moment for you where you put that away and realized I need to
Yeah.
live?
Yeah. That was the moment when I finally heard my soul talking to me. And I say heard because it was talking to me. I just couldn't hear it.
Right.
And the thing is, that's every single day in life, in the sense that our soul, our spirit guides, the universe, they're constantly talking to us. The information is coming in. It's just a matter of releasing the resistance that we have that prevents us from hearing it. And at that time of my life, my resistance was, I need to change myself. I'm not good enough. I need to be straight. I need to be this. I need to be that. I need to be like slimmer. I need to be whatever it is that we're using to keep ourselves from accepting us exactly as we are. And when that resistance is gone, then we can finally hear the answers that are already there, available for us. So for me, it wasn't like this spirit coming in or this angel coming in and saving me. It was me finally hearing my soul talking and saying, just accept yourself and it's
Hmm.
okay.
Wow, I love that. And I know with your dad, he wasn't accepting of you, and that was a big part of that journey. And how we look. Tell me, because I love to look at how we picked our parents and their main role in our life, and how if it wasn't for them, those triggers and what we had to learn from them, we wouldn't become the person we came here to be.
Yeah. So we can look at parents from a 3D perspective and then from a 5D perspective. Okay. So from a 3D perspective, I had a dad who loved me, but had a hard time dealing with my homosexuality. At first, when I came out, I was 25, actually. No, 27, I think, 25 or 27 when I came out to him, a bit late, even though my mom knew since I was 17, but they were divorced, so there was no communication.
Oh, okay.
But once he found out, he said he loved me and accepts me. But that was on paper because there is a difference between acceptance and tolerance. And I felt, and this is the case for many gay men because I have a gay sex and relationships podcast and I talk to a lot of gay men as well. And I work with a community where their parents and my parents as well, they tolerate being gay rather than accept because acceptance comes with support.
Right.
Tolerance is I accept you, but I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to talk about it. I'm not going to ask any questions about it. Just
Right.
be whoever you want to be. Just don't tell me about it. That's not acceptance. That's tolerance. So my dad tolerated me. And then fast forward 4 years ago, my dad passed away from cancer. And as soon as he passed away, a few days afterwards, I felt liberated. Now, this sounds really bad. And I felt guilty at the time, but I understood why. So liberated, by the way, that 2 years later, I got actually a lot sooner than that 2 piercings, my hair went blonde. I signed up to drama school and I started a gay sex podcast.
Huh.
I had realized that the presence of my dad in my life was holding me back from embracing my authentic self.
Yeah.
Just his presence subconsciously was preventing me from being who I was born to be. And by the way, I had thought I had overcome that. I was living freely, and I thought I had fully embraced myself until my dad passed away. Now, that doesn't mean that our parents need to pass away until we're ready to like be ourselves, but it just gets you thinking, okay, how are my parents holding me back? How are their expectations of us holding us back from being who we're meant to be? It's a good journaling question for everybody.
Yeah, that is a good one. Yeah, I love that. I think of listening to how you like emerged and started to become who you really were meant to be and how you live in that. I mean, you live it so much and you radiate that for sure. Like that's what I was attracted to when I started listening to you. Like it's the truth. It's you've lived it. It's like um when you listen to someone like you who has gone through what you've gone through and knows that you want to help people, and I resonate with that too, because I feel like when I'm listening to you say like the light workers who are, I did your quiz about purpose on your website, and it was like, oh gosh, it's like I do have I know my purpose, and it's evolved. I mean, I'm 56, and at 50, I started this podcast and had children all, for the last 18 years. So that was my focus. But, coming into this part of my life and understanding my purpose now and understanding what's calling me, and then you start to kind of go into that place. And when you're explaining it, when I did the quiz, I was like, yes, I do know that calling. I am answering it. But why to explain to people because people come to you to find their purpose. So tell me what you do to help people find it. What do you do to help in that way?
So there are many ways to find your purpose. First of all, let's set the basis here. We all have a life purpose, something we came here to fulfill. Now that's determined, like it's based on our pre-birth plan and our soul purpose. Now our soul purpose is a purpose fulfilled over several lifetimes. So before we're born, we know what our soul purpose is, and we're like, okay, we have 10 lifetimes to fulfill this specific purpose. This lifetime, I'm going to do this. Next lifetime, I'm going to learn that, and then so on. Okay, so every lifetime is a step towards fulfilling that soul purpose. So just having that understanding helps to
Yeah.
realize, okay, I may be in the research phase in this lifetime, or I may be in the fulfilling phase of the life purpose. And then there are many different pathways you can go about it. In my book, Lightworkers Gotta Work, I have a journaling process all about like questions, asking yourself specific questions, and then you pull everything together and figure out what's your life purpose. And it usually has to do with remembering what you wanted to do as a kid. Because when we're children, we already know what our life purpose is, and then we forget.
Mm-hmm.
Then we find connections between what makes us happy, the activities that makes us happy, and how are those activities related to our life purpose. There's a component of matching joyful moments with activities and with a sense of purpose, but also remembering who we were, so what we wanted to do when we were kids. Now, in my latest book, Ancient Manifestation Secrets, I have it here in front of me. So in Ancient Manifestation Secrets, I teach finding your life purpose from a spiritual perspective. I guide people to connect to the energy of their soul and raise their vibration to the frequency of their soul. And then from that perspective, from that perspective, you can receive the knowingness of your life purpose because we're already connected to it, but we have resistance that prevents us from knowing it. Our collective purpose as light workers is to help make the world a better place, is to help people heal. But that's too generic. It has to be very specific and it has to be defined. It doesn't have to, but it's good if we try to define it in a specific, like 1 or 2 sentence paragraph. And that's what I do in all my workshops that are about finding your life purpose, and my books. I guide people to come up with their life purpose declaration. And I actually have a free guide with the process, which is georgelizos.com/life purpose.
Yes, I love that. And I love your website, by the way.
Thank
Okay, so
you.
So your latest book, Ancient Manifesting Secrets, is what caught my eye. Plus, it was January, the beginning of January when I found you, and I'm into I create a word for the year, and I have all these manifesting things that I do. The altar that sits here, and I change it around now more because of what you've taught me. But you talk about your vibration. We talk about that. I know you started with The Secret and Abraham Hicks, and so did I. And San Diego, I went to so many of her conferences, so that was really drawn to me for many years. And I saw my life change and transform from that. And the Seth books, and then all my progression of learning, right? So I understand. I want you to explain because I know that was part of your journey, that you started with kind of The Secret and you understood, like we all say, there was something missing, and, all the way they explain something, but we learned something. There's nothing wrong with that because it definitely took us on this trajectory of where we are today and where you are. But will you explain the process that you take people through with the vibration and the contrast? And I know you work with the seven hermetic um,
Loss.
laws. So you bring that into your practice. Can you explain how that works?
Yeah. So in my latest book, it's called Ancient Manifestation Secrets. I draw from my ancestors, the ancient Greeks, and I bring ancient information about manifestation that goes beyond just the law of attraction. There is a place for The Secret. There is a place for Abraham Hicks. I love both. I'm a
Yeah.
huge Abraham Hicks fan as well. And actually, my work is very aligned with them. They just don't talk about it in the same way. The biggest misconception, though, that a lot of the popular manifestation culture teaches, including Abraham Hicks, is that the law of attraction is the most powerful law in the universe. Yes, it is a powerful law, but it's not more powerful than gravity, for example. You cannot manifest falling upwards. You'll always fall downwards. There are no laws that are more powerful than other laws. All universal laws work with one another. And when it comes to manifestation, there are laws beyond just the law of attraction that are important to work with so we can have a more nuanced and a more effective understanding of how to manifest. So there are the 7 laws of the universe that I talk about in the book, but what I've done in this book is I present a brand new process of manifesting with the energy field. Most manifestation practices out there are all about using outside-in practices, vision boards, affirmations, and manifestation boxes, and journaling, scripting. The process that I teach is an inside-out process, meaning we work directly with our energy field to plant desires in our energy field and magnetize our desires to us. And I teach a 5-step process that's a little bit opposite from all the other processes out there. So first step to my process is called raise your vibration. And it's about raising your vibration to the frequency of your soul so you can channel your life purpose. Then step number 2 is all about clarifying your desires. So to choose your desires, though, we need to find what our life purpose is, and that's where I guide people through that. And then once they have their life purpose, they choose desires aligned to their life purpose so that we don't choose ego-based desires. We choose desires that are aligned to our life purpose, because another statement I make in the book is we cannot manifest anything we want. It's a misconception. We cannot manifest flying, for example. We cannot manifest changing the color of our eyes. It goes against the laws of physics and biology. And there are many things we cannot manifest because it's not part of our birth plan, meaning our soul's plan. There are other factors involved, karmic contracts and karmic curses and soul relationships that all play a part in manifestation. So certain desires cannot manifest. Most of them can, but it's always easier to manifest desires that our soul chose already before we incarnated and that are aligned with our life purpose. So after we've clarified our desires in step number 2, we move to step number 3, all about releasing limiting beliefs. Again, another claim I make in the book is our limiting thoughts and beliefs and emotions don't work against manifestation. And it's okay to feel them. It's okay to feel negative emotions. It's a way to work through our limiting beliefs, not spiritually bypass and not repress them. And I teach an eye movement therapy process because I'm trauma informed as well, to help people heal and transmute limiting beliefs and emotions. And then step number 4, it's about nurturing the energy of your desires. And this is where the woo-woo comes in, where we're planning desires in our energy field, nurturing them with frequencies, connecting them with people telepathically and spirit guides and elementals and companies and organizations to help us manifest them. And then we move into step number 5, taking inspired action. When I wrote Lightworkers Gotta Work, the motto of the book was, the world won't change sitting in meditation pillows all day long. It's this idea that we're not going to change the world by sitting and meditating and raising our vibration all day long. We need to do something with that vibration. And that's why step number 5 is get out there and take inspired action that's balanced in both masculine and feminine energy, meaning you are taking action, but you're also giving yourself permission to rest so you can receive these answers. So this is my 5-step process.
Yes. So where that goes in my mind just now is a story that you told in 2017 when you went somewhere and had a past life regression and
Yes, I
explaining your
went to
souls. Yeah.
Glastonbury in
Glastonbury.
the UK.
Yes. Can you say that? That's a neat story.
It's a really fun story. So this is how I came into the spirituality of my ancestors. This year I've had 2 books come out. Ancient Manifestation Secrets came out in November, and in April I published Secrets of Greek Mysticism. And the story of that started in 2017. At the time, I was working a full-time job in London. I was working for Abraham Hicks' publisher,
You
Hay
were?
House.
Oh, I didn't know
I was
that.
working for Hay House in London. I mean,
Oh.
not the most traditional corporate job, but still, I had spreadsheets and stuff I had to do every single day. But it was much better situation. I had an altar on my desk. I had my card decks there. So it was a really fun job, actually. Anyway, but I was working a full-time job while at the same time trying to build my own spiritual business, which meant I didn't have any time for myself. I was burning myself out until one morning I woke up intending to go to work and my body just wouldn't move. Like I was so fatigued and exhausted. And that's when I realized something had to change. So I went to Glastonbury, a magical town in the UK, and I had a past life regression. And in that regression, I saw myself as a prostitute who was pregnant with one of her client's babies. And then when the client found out, he stabbed her in the womb, killing the baby. In that moment, I created a karmic contract, a promise. I made a promise to reject my feminine energy and abuse masculine energy because that's what was done for me. Sometimes past life traumas don't heal in between the lifetimes and it gets carried down the future lifetimes. And that's what happened with me. So I come out of the regression. I'm like, I need to heal the divine feminine. I need to connect with the divine feminine. I head out of the room. I was crying, and right across the street, I see the goddess temple of Glastonbury. I go in. I'm like, help me connect with the goddess. I need to connect with the divine feminine. And the kind priestess there was showing me all about the Celtic goddesses, which I love. But then I'm like, I'm not Celt, like I am Greek. I wonder if I can find the equivalent within the Greek tradition. So that same night, I go back to my Airbnb, I search online, and I realize that was the year the Greek government had legalized and accepted the ancient Greek religion, the Hellenic ethnic religion. And the Greek polytheists in Greece, in Athens, they were running the first ever priesthood trainings, the official ones. So I'm like signing up. I traveled to Greece, did the priesthood training, and I am one of the first official priests of the religion in the modern times. Certainly the first official one in Cyprus, but one of the first ones in the world.
Oh,
And
wow.
and now I'm like a leader within the community. Like I present at international conferences about religions and I represent the religion like internationally. So that was essentially how I came to connect with my ancestors. And since then, I've been working with the Greek gods and goddesses as a priest And that's why I wrote Secrets of Greek Mysticism. It is the first book written by a native Greek practicing priest of the religion, helping people connect not with the mythology, but with the theology of the ancient Greeks, the Greek gods and goddesses.
Right. So let's go a little bit there because because I was just in Greece and learned all about the different gods, and
Yes.
I mean, just so fascinating. And it opened my eyes so much to just the way, just that whole Greece, the Greek philosophies, right? So when you go through, there's 12, there's six female and six male.
Yes.
Can you kind of go through a little bit of that so I can?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So the reason there are, first of all, there are thousands, if not millions, of gods and goddesses. There
Okay.
are as many as there are universal laws, because the Greek gods and goddesses and all pagan religions, gods and goddesses, they are universal laws.
Got it.
They're not just spirit guides. Think of the law of form. That's Aphrodite. She doesn't represent it or guide it. She is that law that the ancient Greeks portrayed in a physical way so that they could have a relationship with that law and they can work with that law. And the reason there are 12 gods is because, according to Sallustius, who was a philosopher in the ancient times, there are 4 steps to the creation and maintenance of the universe. And he assigned 3 gods to each step, 3 times 4, 12. And 3 gods to each step, representing the beginning, the middle, and the end of each of the steps. And therefore, it explains that the universe is run by these gods. There are creation gods, maintenance gods, animation gods, etc. Okay, so the reason there are 6 female and 6 male deities is because, not because the universal laws have gender, they don't, but that's the kind of energy they have. It's more of a feminine energy versus a masculine energy. And there's always this idea of balance with ancient Greek religion, whereas we have to honor both sides of the divine, not just the masculine and not just the feminine, but both. And you can see this harmony present in all aspects of ancient Greece and ancient Greek culture. You can see that in architecture, you can see that in philosophy. They always strive to find balance. And that's the same thing with religion. Does it make sense?
Yes. 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 Okay. So can we go into, we're getting ready to have all the planets align. And I was listening to that, your pneumonia, what you do with the
Yes, yes. Numenia is
pneumonia.
basically it's the ancient Greek new moon ritual. The ancient Greeks had a lunar calendar, and therefore the beginning of the month started on the new moon and ended in the dark moon. And the first day of the moon cycle, the new moon, was called Numenia, and it was the most sacred of all days of the month.
Yeah. But it's the rituals that you believe, like how the calendar is with the moon, and like even Jesus's birth and the sun, that whole story. I learned that this morning from you.
Yes. So essentially, when we have Christmas time, the 25th of December, that's essentially aligned with the winter solstice, the 21st of December. And what's happening? Basically, Christmas is an ancient Greek holiday, an ancient pagan holiday that was essentially adapted to Christianity. But the way the ancient Greeks celebrated, we celebrate that triesperon. Triesperon is a Greek word that means 3 nights. Why 3 nights? Is because on the winter solstice, the 21st, the night we have the longest night of the year and the shortest day. And that stays like that for approximately 3 days. So for 3 days, the day is not growing. It stays the same. And that's why it's this dark time. And then on the 25th, the 3rd day, the day starts growing again. So we have the birth of the sun. And according to the ancient Greeks, they celebrated the birth of either Heracles, known as Hercules as well, or the birth of Dionysus. Okay, both being sun gods. And of course, then Christianity came, what can they put in place of Hercules? Jesus. So it's the birth of Jesus. And that's why instead of saying Merry Christmas, I say Merry Sunmas.
Oh,
Sunmas. So it's the birth of the sun.
oh, yeah. I learned that today. And my dog, I was walking with Hercules when you were talking about Hercules because my dog is Hercules.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
so I was laughing, going, "Oh, Hercules, you're." I could say Merry Hercules.
Yes.
We're ending, but I want to round up with you just had a money manifestation. And I kind of want to end on that because something about it resonated with me in my, like, I look back and thinking it's about clearing your shadows, clearing your limiting beliefs, coming into understanding like where there's so much abundance in this world and where you look outside and see the trees and the leaves and that they always grow back. It's like looking at nature and knowing that we're surrounded by abundance and we are that. When you teach your money, is it money codes? I forget.
I teach many workshops on manifesting money. The latest one is called Ancient Greek Money Codes. Yes.
Okay. Can you explain kind of how? So I was listening or I was reading your blog about when you were little and your mom was all excited and put the Christmas tree lights up, and then your dad came home and said, "Go return it." And that was so I was trying to think in my life, gosh, I had so many of those moments. And I wonder how that carries through into manifests into my life now in this as an
Yeah.
adult, right?
Yeah. So a lot of the beliefs we have about money are not ours. They come from other people in our lives. And they also come from our past lives as well. So we need to start perceiving healing and going at it from a multidimensional perspective and not just approach it from a cognitive perspective. A lot of the work that many people do is just cognitive, like therapy, EFT, and all those cognitive modalities like journaling, which are wonderful. And then we have another group of people that they just focus on like energy. I'm just going to shift my energy. And then some people do somatic work. There's also spiritual work, working with past lives and healing past life traumas related to that, and ancestral conditioning and trauma coming from that as well. We need to do it all. So my approach to healing anything these days is not just working with energy or just working with cognitive modalities. It's doing it all. So yes, there are things that we've learned from our parents, and it's important to deprogram those limiting beliefs. And there are many tools to do that. But also, it's important to identify the ancestral and the past life blockages that we've brought from our past lives to this one and deprogram them as well. I was listening to a book this morning, which is like very old school coaching book. And this teacher was talking all about like we start life like with a blank slate and then a blank canvas. And then people start like infiltrating us with information. And I'm thinking, well, I used to believe that as well, but we don't
Oh,
start
totally.
as a blank canvas.
Right.
We come with information from our past lives. We come with limiting beliefs. We come with something that's there, and it's definitely not a blank canvas, and we need to deal with that as well. So with money, we need to approach that from that perspective too.
And when you say clearing and what processes, because I've interviewed people and it's all about clearing, and we're doing a retreat this weekend that's about that. What do you have different processes that you do to help people clear their shadow
Yes.
work?
Yes. So the main thing that I do, I'm a psychic healer. So I help people access their energy field and clear things energetically. And I do this for people as well in my psychic clearing sessions. But at the same time, I have a master's in psychology and I'm a trained trauma specialist. So I like to bring in other cognitive modalities as well. I find the two work really well together. So I work primarily with a technique, an eye movement technique called integral eye movement therapy, that I also teach in Ancient Manifestation Secrets, which is about moving your eyes in a specific way while thinking about limiting thoughts and beliefs. And you shift the way you think about money and about different things in your life with eye movements. So I combine the two usually. In the ancient Greek money codes, it's a different practice there. We connect with the Greek gods and goddesses of abundance, the 5 Greek gods and goddesses of abundance to shift things in an energetic way.
And so when you're connecting with those goddesses, you're doing it in your affirmations, you're bringing them into your energy.
Yes. We have ancient Greek hymns, the Orphic hymns that we use. There are mantras and activation mantras that we can use to activate their energy, and visualization meditations that I teach in the ancient Greek money codes workshop, actually. And I really appreciate the hymns, actually. And in my book, Secrets of Greek Mysticism, I included the Orphic hymns. These are ancient hymns that we have from the ancient times. So imagine they've been recited like hundreds, if not thousands of times by people throughout the ages. So they hold a lot of power, and they hold the frequency of each god and goddess. So just by reciting that hymn, you activate the energy of that god within you.
Wow. We're ending, I promise. And then we'll tell everybody where to find you. What do you do? And do you have a certain routine that you do? Do you mix it up every morning? How do you
I
start your day
have
like that?
an amazing long routine that I do every single morning, but my favorite practice that I also teach in ancient manifestation secrets, it's called a magical morning practice. I learned this from another teacher, Gala Darling, and then I adapted it and I expanded it. So I send a voice message to one of my best friends, and in that voice message, I say what I'm grateful for. I start by saying what I'm grateful for to warm myself up. Then I follow up by telling them what I want to manifest during the day in the past tense. So I tell them how my day unfolds. Today, I woke up in the morning, I walked my dog, and I got to work. So in the past tense, so that you project it into the future. And then I finish this recording off by talking about what I want to manifest in the future in the past tense. So today I was telling my best friend that I was getting offers to do TV series and plays. So I was talking in the past tense about something that hasn't manifested yet. So it sort of communicates to my mind that, okay, I'm already living that. So it's an amazing way to manifest.
Oh, I love that. To the same friend every day?
It's the same friend every day, and they do it as well.
Oh,
And then I've taken this to a whole new level. In the middle of the day, I voice message another best friend and I say what I'm grateful so far in the day. And then at the end of the day, I voice message yet another friend and I tell them what I'm grateful for throughout the day. And then finally, I voice message another best friend and I tell her my highlights of the day. So my day is full of gratitude
yeah.
as a result of, and I call them gratitude touchstones.
Huh. I love that. I'm so glad I asked you that. I'm going to be doing that. That is
You're
such
gonna
a
love it. It's
great.
so fun.
Oh, and they do it back to you.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's not like, okay, here's George again, leaving his voice
No,
message.
no, it's a practice, and we get to hear each other and raise each other's frequency. And when you hear someone else's manifestations, you give energy to them as well. So we help each other manifest them.
Yes. Oh, so good. And you made that up?
Well, the magical morning practice I learned from Gala Darling, who should learn from somebody else. But the later touchstones, like the middle of the day, end of the day, that's
Right.
my thing.
Okay. I love it. All right, George. Thank you. Thank you. I know it's so late in Cyprus. And what time is it?
It's midnight,
Oh my
10 past midnight.
gosh. It is? Okay, we're done. Tell everyone where to find you. I didn't realize it was that late.
No, don't worry. It's all good. I'm so used to it right now. I work on American time.
Oh, gee.
You can find me on my website, georgelizos.com, and on Instagram, where I live, at George Lizos. And to get my book, Ancient Manifestation Secrets, make sure to go to ancientmanifestationsecrets.com, where you can also get a free workshop with me, a past life regression to retrieve manifestation skills from your past lives.
Oh, so amazing. And go to his Instagram because I get your daily readings every day.
Oh,
So
yay.
I've been connected with you for like a month now since I found you, and that is so fun to wake up to. So I highly recommend that. And thank you so much. I did not realize it was midnight.
That's okay. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you.